Hi everybody, this video is about fraction models, language, and symbols. And it's really important that kids get experience with different fraction models. They learn to use the language of fractions appropriately and also the symbols of fractions appropriately. Fraction models come in three different types. You can have region or area models, length models, or set models. They're distinguished by what it is that we need to be proportional. For example, area models, the key is that the size of the area of each part is proportional. And what do we mean by that? For example, here are a bunch of different types of area models. And for example, if we look at the pattern blocks here, and I wanted to talk about these two red pieces being the same fractional part, they have to have the same area for both the red pieces. And we can compare, for example, the big yellow piece to the red piece by comparing the area of their sizes. The red is 1/2 of the yellow because the area of the red surface is 1/2 of the area of the yellow. There are a couple other area models we can use. These tend to be preset ones: circular pieces, rectangular regions, pattern blocks. You can buy them in sets. They come in plastic pieces. You can also do geometric shapes on a geoboard and talk about fractional parts of there. We can take a rectangle and cut it into 4 equal pieces. We can do drawings on grids or on isometric dot paper and talk about the proportions of the areas there as fractions. And lastly, we can take sheets of paper and fold them up into different fractional parts. All of those are related because it's the area of the parts that creates the fraction. In contrast, length models were only focused on here, the key being the length of each part being proportional. So let's take a look at some length models. We can have fraction strips or Cuisenaire rods. Cuisenaire is a specific brand that's been around a very long time. They're little rectangular blocks that come in different lengths, and it's the lengths that help us understand the fraction. For example, if these two yellows together make up a whole bar, then one of them is 1/2 of a bar because its length is 1/2 of the whole. Measurement tools like rulers, number lines, those can also help kids focus on the length and the relationship to fractions. And here's the cheap and easy way to go: folded paper strips. So you can just have long strips of paper that you can fold into different fractional parts. Fantastic, because they're cheap and easy to make, and if kids lose them, you just make some more, no big deal. The last type of model is what's called a set model. And in a set model, the key here is that the number of elements in each part is proportional. So if we take a look at some examples of set models, we can have 2 color counters, and if we're thinking about 12 counters making one whole, then we can look at different parts, like, for example, if what fraction would 4 counters be if 12 makes a whole? And it's the number of 4 counters, not the size of the counters or anything like that, but it's the number of them that's important. Or objects that children like to play with, cars and trucks. If all these together is one whole group, then what fraction of them are cars? And it's the number of cars that tells us what fraction, not the fact that cars are smaller than trucks or anything like that. So we're focusing on the number of things. Important for kids to experience and think about fractions with all 3 types of those models and get some experience with each of those. In the next video, we'll talk about fraction language and fraction symbols and how what's important there and how we can connect them to those models.